whatever you're supposed to be, whatever that's supposed to mean, I just want you to know that you don't have to come clean to me.
Everything's exactly where it needs to be. Mount Joy.
What's a journey without a challenge? Julia Mattias.
Fear is just a part of love, and one thing I've found, is love's what you deserve. Briston Maroney.
Good morning. My name is Taylor Schuster, and I'm a sixth former from Simsbury, Connecticut. Over the past 18 years of my life, I have accumulated some interesting habits, rituals, and practices. Some are completely superstitious, like knocking on wood, wishing on an eyelash, or treasuring every fortune I received from a fortune cookie. Some are purely out of boredom, like drawing the same few little doodles on my papers. They all, however, grant me some peace of mind. With such busy days ahead of me, I like to use these little rituals to ground myself, but I didn't realize just how important one of these has been to my perception of the passing of time. About 2 weeks ago, I had a conversation on the phone with my mom while pacing back and forth down the empty halls of the English wing. I was terrified, rambling on about graduation, college, finding a roommate, picking a major, and pretty much everything else that a soon-to-be high school graduate typically is stressing about. After she calmed me down, I ripped off a corner of an old APES test and wrote to myself, "Dear future Taylor, how was graduation? How's college going? Are you happy? Let me know. Love you, Taylor." I folded this note up and safely crammed it against my driver's license in my phone wallet. When I got home that night, I placed it on my calendar above my desk and crossed out another day. Writing notes to myself is something that I have been doing since I was young. Around 6th grade, my overwhelming curiosity about my life ahead of me took a hold, and I began writing. The first page of my old journal reads, "Hi, future Taylor. I'm in 6th grade right now, and I really want to know what it's like to be older, like in middle school. Unless you're in high school right now, that's in a while. Scary. I hope you are super happy. Love, Taylor." Once I got to middle school, I wrote, "Dear future Taylor, I'm really nervous about high school. Please tell me it's not too bad. Love, Taylor." More notes like these began flowing through my thoughts, and it became a consistent habit of mine, sticking with me through my elementary, middle, and now high school years. I would write to myself whenever I was excited, disappointed, nervous, bored, or really whenever I had some free time, thinking that catching a glimpse into my future would relieve the anxious anticipation that I felt in the present. The pages of my journal spilled out of the bindings with impatient curiosity regarding my next endeavor. In elementary school, I would write about middle school, wondering how I adjusted to the schedule, who my friends were, and if I wished I were still a little kid. When I finally got to middle school, I wrote about high school, asking about my friends, classes, sports, clubs. I'm sure you can tell that there's a bit of a pattern here. I spent hours scribbling down little questions to myself, leaving myself voice memos, texts, and paragraphs in my notes app of my phone, hoping that my answers would arrive swiftly to relieve my stress. My letters continued to pile up and eventually became an unconscious practice of mine whenever I found myself wondering about the future. As I spread out my collection of notes from the past few years, I began to notice one overarching theme in each piece of paper: change. Now, of course, I'm scared of big changes. I'm sure most people in this room share the same feeling. Back in 6th grade, when I began writing to myself, I couldn't fully conceptualize the fact that I would be thinking back to my past self one day, answering each question that I scribbled onto old scraps of paper. I didn't realize at the time, but my elementary, middle, and high school years were already slipping by me, and no amount of notes to my future self could ever prepare me for how rapidly these changes would occur. Each question became an answer, and, before I knew it, each answer became a memory. Suddenly, my 6th grade self wasn't an 11-year-old anymore, but an adult with a life ahead of her. As bizarre and frankly terrifying as this thought is, I still feel as though I can't help but obsess over the next big change to happen in my life. As I flipped through the pages of letters in front of me, I noticed how rapidly time had passed when I spent so much of time worrying about it passing. Each anxious scribble of writing had already come and gone without a second thought. I realized that I let my anticipation for the future overwhelm my appreciation for the present. While I was desperately awaiting the next chapter of my life, I didn't allow myself to take a moment to enjoy the chapter that I was so terrified to leave. Everything felt as if it was, and is, moving and changing so quickly, with no time to stop and rest. Now, I wish I could provide a perfect solution to this issue that I'm sure we all face, but I really can't. This is just a fact of life that I've learned over the past few years, and unfortunately, I've heard that it only gets faster from here. I can, however, give some peace of mind as we approach such critical moments of our lives. Change is the essence of life, and impossible to avoid, whether we want to accept this or not. We could spend our days praying for time to slow down or wishing to grow older, but neither will affect the natural process of our lives. I've found that it tends to move particularly fast in my life, with very little time to stop and take a breath. I've also found, however, that it doesn't always have to feel so daunting. Instead of picking up a pen to agonize over the uncertainty of my life after leaving the hill, I've learned to take a moment to stop and appreciate the present before it becomes a memory. With such busy lives, our days can feel like they fly by without ever realizing it. As change approaches us, no matter how big or small, it is important to slow down, take a breath, and cherish the lives that we are currently living for a moment or two. Whenever you have a chance, take a moment to really embrace every piece of this special place. Whether this is a friend, teacher, staff member, or anyone else on the hill who brings a smile to your face, take advantage of the time that you have with them. We are so lucky to be surrounded by such amazing people every single day who truly want the best for us. We are also very lucky to experience bittersweet endings and new, exciting beginnings. So use your time here carefully and wisely. Each moment that we have with each other is so precious, and we deserve to spend those moments present and alive, not desperately reaching into the future. Realistically, we will never be perfectly and completely ready for our next journey. We will experience countless amounts of laughs, cries, hugs, arguments, and everything in between in our lives, but it's no use focusing on those now. Never let your days become old, forgotten scraps of paper sitting at the bottom of a drawer. Live them, embrace them, and make them your own. The future will come to us whether we want it to or not. We have no choice. As our time here at Westminster creeps closer and closer to its end, we might as well live for today and let tomorrow take its sweet time. Thank you.